we'll try and understand what is called as autogenous control of lambda repressor synthesis when it comes to gene regulation in bacteriophage lambda. Okay. So lysogeny, as I was telling you, can be understood in three stages. For the sake of simplicity, we can have three stages in lysogeny. One is establishment. Second one is maintenance. And third one is termination. And you can now understand, you can also, foresee that of these three, obviously the establishment is the most difficult. And please remember the two survival options, that is lytic pathway and lysogenic pathway, they are interlocked. So we have not yet finished off the lytic pathway. That's what I told you. So we'll see how these two pathways are interlocked also in due course of time. So as far as establishment is concerned, RNA polymerase, again, bacteriophage doesn't have its own RNA polymerase. It doesn't have its resources. So RNA polymerase of the bacteria will bind here, PRE, E for establishment. And you see the orientation. See the orientation shown by the arrow over here, and it will start transcribing in this direction. So CL will be transcribed, then it will be translated, and you will have lambda repressor. So about lambda repressor also I told you that it is a dumbbell shaped protein, about 26 kilodalton in size, and the active form is dimer. So N terminus is the DNA binding domain and C terminus is the dimer binding domain. Okay, so 1 to 92 is N terminus. I think 112 to 232 or something like that is the C terminus, and in between you have a rod-shaped structure, right? So this lambda repressor is synthesized, and first few molecules of lambda repressor, those which are synthesized, what do? They go and occupy this operator, right? This operator, making sure that RNA polymerase doesn't get a chance to bind to this promoter, PR. Okay, the intention is very clear. The intention is somehow not allow CRO to be expressed, because CRO gene product is an anti-repressor. So if CRO is not synthesized, you are, setting the stage for the lysogenic pathway, right? So this is establishment. First few molecules of repressor, those which will be synthesized by RNA polymerase, which has started off from PRE, they will go and occupy the operator here, so that RNA polymerase cannot bind to this promoter and CRO is not synthesized, right? So this is establishment. Once established, then lysogeny is maintained by promoter PM. So M stands for maintenance. And you see the orientation here. The orientation is also that it will also be transcribing in this direction, right? So it will take over from PM, RNA polymerase will bind over here, and then will transcribe this. The issue came as to what should be the optimal level of the repressor, because all the time cell has to maintain an optimum level of repressor. This is the optimum level CSI. Why it is necessary? Because if there is less than optimum level of repressor in the cell at any given point of time, then there is always a possibility that it will lead to premature switch to lysogeny. Okay, premature, because there is not enough lambda repressor. So CRO will get an opportunity, anti-repressor will be synthesized, and bacteriophage will switch over from lysogeny to lytic prematurely, when it is not required, when it is not desired, right? So too little repressor will have this particular problem. If the repressor level goes above the critical level, above the optimum level, if there is too much of repressor, then the problem would be, it will be difficult to switch over to lysogeny when needed, because you have too much of repressor, which is not allowing the bacteriophage to switch over from lysogeny to lytic. So nature has solved this problem in a very elegant way. What it has done is that it has put the lambda repressor synthesis under its own control. It has put the lambda repressor synthesis under its own control. What we call it as autogenous control. We are calling it as autogenous control, right? So autogenous control is what? For this, we need to understand what I have done is I have expanded this region. Okay, so this is the our arrangement of genes. So you have CL in the center, you have PM here, you have PROR, you see the orientation. Then there is a CRO, then there are two transcription termination site, then there is C2 gene, and then there is a PRE, promoter right hand side establishment. On this side, you have promoter left hand side. Within that, there is an operator. You have N. Then there is a transcription termination site, and there is a C3 gene. So now I have, we have seen this region into a lot more details. What was found out is that there are in the operator on either side, this operator and this operator on either side, you have three repressor binding sites. They are shown over here. This is one OR1, this is 2 OR2, and this is 3 OR3. On the left hand side also there are three. There is OL1, OL2, and OL3. So there are three operator binding sites for lambda repressor. There are three sites where lambda repressor can go and potentially bind on either side of the CL, right? Each operator site is about 17 base pair in length. Each is about 17 base pair. This length is about 17 base pair. 17 base pair. And they are separated from one another by a 7 base pair spacer. This is 7 base pair. The size of DNA between the two operator binding site is 7 base pair, and they are typically rich in A and T. They are rich in A and T. Those 7 base pairs are, you'll have multiples of A's and multiples of T's. And please remember that these sites are similar, but they are not identical. Now, please understand there is a difference. They are not identical. They are similar means their length is similar, their characteristic is similar, that they are the sites where a repressor protein will come and bind, but they are not identical. They have differential affinity for the repressor protein. They have differential affinity for the repressor protein. Please remember, I am repeating it once again, that they are similar in terms of their characteristic, in terms of their length, but they are not identical. Okay, and as a result of that, they show differential affinity for the repressor. Okay, the one which is closest to the structural gene on either side has the highest affinity for the repressor. I'm repeating it once again, the one which is closest to the structure, this is structural gene, this is structural gene on this side. The one which is closest, the operator binding site, which is closest to the structural gene on either side, has the strongest affinity for the repressor. So now you can understand that this OR1 is closest to CRO on this side, and OL1 is closest to N on this side. So obviously these two binding sites will have the highest affinity. Means the next few molecules or the first few molecules of repressor, those which have been synthesized, they will go and occupy these sites first. Then the second affinity is OR2 and the last affinity is OR3. Similarly here, the second affinity is for OL2 and the third affinity is for OL3. Okay. So now let us understand, and very crucial, please understand it with a lot of attention. So you have repressor molecules synthesized. So first few molecules of repressor, what do? They will go and occupy this place. So let me make it over here. So I am just making one dumbbell here, one dumbbell here. I don't know whether it is visible. Okay. Similarly here, first. So what basically, I'm sorry, I made it at a wrong place. It should be here. First few molecules of repressor will go and bind to OR1 and OL1 on either side. And what do they do? The purpose is to block RNA polymerase from binding here and transcribe this CRO and transcribe this N, right? So the first thing they do is to block the RNA polymerase binding site for transcribing CRO on right hand side and transcribing N on this side. Okay. Then next few molecules of repressor, they will go and occupy OR2. So on this side OR2 and on this side OL2. Okay. Now presence of repressor here, presence of repressor at OR2 facilitates binding of RNA polymerase at PM. RNA polymerase for binding at promoter M maintenance requires presence of repressor protein at OR2. Binding of repressor protein at OR2 creates additional interaction sites so that promoter PM will be PM can be identified by RNA polymerase. RNA polymerase will be able to identify promoter PM. As long as repressor does not occupy this OR2, RNA polymerase find it difficult to identify this promoter. Please understand. So that is why RNA polymerase initially did not bind here. RNA polymerase bound to this place, RE, because this promoter was difficult to identify. This promoter, for its identification, requires what? Requires that OR2 is occupied by repressor protein. So you can say it is a, here repressor is working as a positive regulator protein. Presence of this, facilitates binding of RNA polymerase to promoter PM. So once RNA polymerase is bound to PM, the lysogeny is under maintenance circuit. Maintenance starts. RNA polymerase no longer from this side starts transcribing. RNA polymerase will bind here and will transcribe this here, right? Now, few more molecules of, repressor will be synthesized and it will attain that optimal threshold level that needs to be maintained all the time, right? So the next molecules, they will go and occupy this. Right? Next few molecules which have been synthesized by RNA polymerase bound to PM, they will go and occupy OR3 and OL3. Right? Now OR3 and PM, OR3 binding site and PM, they overlap. They overlap. So when repressor has come and occupied OR3, RNA polymerase no longer can bind to promoter PM, right? And as a result of that, further synthesis of repressor protein will stop. This is what is meant by autogenous control. This is what is meant by autogenous control. Okay. So please understand what is meant by autogenous control. Repressor synthesis is under its own control. Okay, and that is how elegantly, by subtle interplay of repressor and its binding site, nature has provided the control in the synthesis, control of repressor synthesis, regulation of repressor synthesis under its own control. Okay, so I'm repeating it once again. What is happening? First few molecules of repressor which are synthesized by RNA polymerase starting from PRE, they will go and occupy OR1 and OL1. These are the two operator binding sites which have got the highest affinity for repressor protein. And the purpose is to block RNA polymerase binding at this place, this promoter, so that CRO-NN synthesis can be stopped. Okay. Once this has been successfully done, cell has made sure that lysogeny will follow. Then the next few molecules will occupy OR2 and OL2 because they have the second highest affinity. Their presence of repressor at OR2 especially is required for RNA polymerase to bind to promoter M. Okay. Why it is? I am going to ask you this question. I would have asked you this question in the physical class. The reason is that this promoter is a weak promoter. RNA polymerase by itself cannot identify it. It requires presence of repressor protein at this place, and then only RNA polymerase can bind. Binding of repressor here, creates additional interaction sites for RNA polymerase so that it can identify this. So it identifies this, starts transcribing CL. So now this is maintenance circuit, and it can be maintained for generations like this. The only thing is that every time it maintains only an optimum level of repressor, because too little will lead to premature switch and too much will make the cell, the vectorphage, difficult to switch over from lysogeny to lytic. So you see, when you have repressor synthesized and when this particular level has been achieved, next few molecules which are synthesized, which are more than the optimal level, they will go and occupy this OR3. And this OR3 and PM, these binding sites are overlapping. And as a result of that, RNA polymerase will not bind and further synthesis of repressor will stop. So this is what is called as autogenous control, and beautiful, elegant mechanism for regulating the synthesis of lambda repressor by itself, right? So I hope you have understood this. So this is what is called as maintenance. In this maintenance circuit, as I have been telling you, lambda repressor can remain for generations together. Okay, what makes lambda repressor take a decision to switch over from lysogeny to lytic pathway? Okay, what is called as termination of lysogeny. Let us understand that termination of lysogeny. Termination of lysogeny what leads to termination? What leads to the decision to terminate the lysogeny? So logically speaking, there can be conditions. Environmental conditions, nutrient conditions, right? Second thing is when the host has become inhospitable. When the host has become inhospitable, when the host is no longer a safe haven, at that time a decision is taken to switch over from lysogeny to lytic pathway. Otherwise, it can continue there in lysogenic pathway for generations. So what exactly is the trigger? Scientists work relentlessly on this, and finally the answer is, the trigger is, it can be anything like this, but the real trigger is a single stranded DNA. Single stranded DNA of the host, that is the trigger. That is an emergency signal. That is the signal that this host is in danger. This bacterium is in danger when the DNA has been damaged. The damage can be due to environmental conditions, exposure to UV light, exposure to UV light, or the damage can be due to certain exposure to chemicals, what we call them as chemical mutagens. When the bacterial cell has been exposed to either UV light or some other damaging radiations or chemicals which are mutagens, potential mutagens, and which cause damage to the DNA, that is the trigger. Now scientists are able to pinpoint that what is the trigger. The trigger is this single stranded DNA. And this single stranded DNA may have a reason because of these, or it may have a reason for some other reason. Okay, but single stranded DNA is a trigger, is a signal, is an emergency signal that this host is in trouble and it is better to leave this host. Okay, and at that time, bacteriophage takes the decision to terminate the lysogeny. All right. So how does the termination happen, take place? So what was found out is that lambda repressor has a latent protease activity. What is meant by that? Lambda repressor has a latent protease activity, means it has a built-in protease activity which is dormant. Okay. Now, binding of single-stranded DNA with a protein called REC-A protein, which is a filamentous protein, which is present in the bacterial cell. It covers the single-stranded DNA. So binding of single-stranded DNA with REC-A protein, a filamentous protein present in the bacterial cell, activates the protease activity of lambda repressor. It has a built-in protease activity, but it is latent, it is dormant. But when single-stranded DNA binds to REC-A protein, this complex activates the protease activity of lambda repressor. And what does it do? It catalyzes hydrolysis of a peptide bond in the rod region. So once that protease activity has been activated, it auto-catalyzes a particular peptide bond in the rod region. This is the rod region. Okay, that peptide bond which is hydrolyzed is precisely between amino acid number 112 and amino acid number 113. The peptide bond between amino acid 112 and amino acid 113, it is hydrolyzed in the central rod region of the lambda repressor. Okay, so this lambda repressor which are now occupying these positions, they will be hydrolyzed. Okay, who is hydrolyzing it? Who is cutting those? Who is hydrolyzing that particular bond? Protein itself. This is called as autocatalysis. Okay, lambda repressor itself has got that protease activity. It was there, but it was latent. It has been activated, so it self catalyzes the hydrolysis of this particular bond, leading to breaking of this lambda repressor. So lambda repressor will start vacating these operator regions. Okay, and as soon as that operator region is vacated, OR1 has been vacated because of the hydrolysis of the peptide bond. Immediately, what will happen? RNA polymerase will come and bind to this promoter, because this site is now been vacated. It is the OR1 which overlaps with the RNA polymerase binding site. So once the OR1 has been vacated, RNA polymerase will bind here, okay, and it will start transcribing in this direction. Similarly, when OL1 has been vacated, RNA polymerase will bind to this promoter, and this will transcribe the N. Okay, first few molecules of CRO which are synthesized. CRO codes for a protein called anti-repressor. Anti-repressor. It is a 7 kilodalton protein. Active form is dimer. Active form is dimer. Okay. So first few molecules of CRO, what do they do? This CRO has got higher affinity for OR3. This CRO protein has got higher affinity for OR3. First few molecules of CRO, what do? They will go and bind to OR3 first, and thereby do what? Thereby, they will be blocking the binding of RNA polymerase to PM. Binding of RNA polymerase to PM will stop. Okay. First few molecules of repressor protein, those which were synthesized, did what? They went and bound to OR1, making sure that RNA polymerase doesn't bind to this promoter and CRO is not synthesized. First few molecules of CRO that are synthesized, anti-repressor protein that are synthesized, do what? They will go and occupy OR3. And do what? Will inhibit binding of RNA polymerase to this particular promoter, PM. Thereby making sure what? That expression of CL doesn't take place. CL is no longer expressed. And once it has been established that CL is not getting expressed, this is the point of no return. Now, lytic pathway will follow. Means lysogeny will be terminated and lytic will be followed. Okay. So, this is how lytic pathway, this is how lysogeny will be terminated. This is how lysogeny will be terminated. The CRO protein, which is a 7 kilodalton protein in the active form, is a dimer. It has got higher affinity for this particular region, OR3. So it ensures that CL expression from PM doesn't take place anymore. And as a result of that, there is no more further synthesis of repressor protein. And this is the point of no return. Means once it has been established that repressor is not getting synthesized, then lytic will be followed. Lytic will be following, right? So the rest of the things I will not repeat. N will be transcribed on this direction. N is an anti-terminator which will allow this T1 and T2, means RNA polymerase, to walk through these termination sites. Will get into C2 and C3, and then rest of the other genes which will be sequentially expressed on either side. Okay, so this is how lysogeny will be terminated. Okay, lysogeny will be terminated. Please understand, lambda repressor has a latent protease activity, right? And this protease activity is activated by the complex single-stranded DNA and Recce protein complex. Okay, single-stranded DNA is the trigger. This single-stranded DNA may have arisen because of anything, because of environmental factors, because of chemicals or whatever. As soon as it detects a single-stranded DNA, it is a potential danger signal that the host is in danger. It cannot survive. So it's better to leave it before it dies itself. So a decision is taken and lysogeny is terminated and lytic will be ensured. Lytic will be followed, right? So this is how lysogeny will be terminated, right? Now, there are a couple of things more that I would like to tell you. So how does it begin? How does it happen? See, as the bacteriophage infects the bacterium, infection of the bacterium, and it has inserted the DNA. Okay, till that time, no decision has been taken. I told you that the decision to follow lytic pathway or lysogeny is based on a couple of things. One is conditions, environmental as well as nutrient conditions. If conditions are favorable, conditions are comfortable, nutrient supply is abundant, obviously, logically, bacteriophage should go for lytic pathway, perpetuate itself, make progeny particles. If the conditions are harsh, then it should go for the lysogeny. Okay, but second deciding factor is the genotype of the bacteria. Okay, what is the genotype of, whether it favors lysogeny or not, right? Lysogeny takes place by site-specific recombination. So the first, steps, first few sequences, whether it will go for lytic pathway or lysogenic pathway, it is like this. As soon as it infects the bacterium and it has inserted the DNA, what happens is this, that RNA polymerase, the host RNA polymerase will bind to this PR in either case, whether lytic or lysogeny, and PL. Please understand it carefully. Now we'll be making the picture complete. So RNA polymerase, host RNA polymerase will bind here and here, and CRO will be synthesized, C2 will be synthesized, N will be synthesized, C3 will be synthesized. All right. Whether it goes for lytic pathway or lysogenic pathway, these are the initial events which are common. This will take place. Why? RNA polymerase binding to this PRE. This PRE is also a weak promoter. So now you understand what is meant by weak promoter. Weak promoter means that RNA polymerase by itself will find it difficult to identify this promoter. So for identification of PRE, it requires C2 and C3. These two are positive regulator proteins. So once C2 and C3 have been synthesized, then only it is possible that RNA polymerase can bind over here. So RNA polymerase will bind and then will start transcribing in this direction. And then CL will be transcribed, and then the rest of the thing that we discussed today. Okay. So ultimately it comes down to what? Ultimately it comes down to it's a delicate balance between the two proteins. If repressor protein has an upper hand, because it is heavy, therefore it is down. This is seesaw. So repressor protein has an upper hand. So what will happen? Lysogeny will follow. And if CRO has an upper hand, shown by this seesaw here, it is heavy here. So CRO has an upper hand, lytic will follow. So the survival options basically is decided by the, what you can say, who of these two proteins, repressor is 26 kilodalton monomer and CRO is a 7 kilodalton monomer. These two small molecular weight protein, their relative level and who at that point of time has an upper hand will be the deciding factor. If repressor has an upper hand, lysogeny will follow, and if CRO has an upper hand, lytic pathway will follow. So the meeting will end anytime soon. Thank you very much for attending this lecture. We'll